Welcome back. And so let's continue our conversation on the state of things in Jos, particularly as far as security is concerned, following concerns in the University of Jos and in other areas. And joining us now is a security consultant, Mr. Edinen Usoro, who is also the MD CEO, Executive Guards Limited, who joins us virtually today on the program. We're also expecting to join us later on, perhaps, Mr. Alfred Alabo, the Police Public Relations Officer, Plateau State Command. Hopefully he would join us, especially because Plateau may be busy today, will be busy ahead of the president's visit. But let's begin with Mr. Osoro, who joins us now. First of all, what are your expectations as far as security is concerned following Mr. President's visit in Plateau State today? What really should change?
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I don't think I'm too optimistic about any positive outcomes because will you call it a political visit or what? You know, because the issue of security has been a concern in the past 11 years or so. You know, since the time of late Mohamed Buhari, and the governor went to Abuja, and then the president is coming. The question will be what is likely going to change. Will anything change just by a visit? How will that affect how this current crisis started? I think the fundamentals will not change the way I look at it.
So what orders, in the light of the circumstances in Jos and even in other parts of the country that are challenged, so what orders should Mr. President be giving, even if he didn't visit Jos today to condole with the governor and with the people that have been challenged? What orders should be given to security agents such that, you know, those who are responsible for this will be brought to book? And I ask this in the light of the facts of the reports coming through time and again, where those who live in these areas say, we know where these people are.
Sadly, you are aware too that governments at all levels are more concentrating on the 2027 elections than anything that bothers on the lives and security of the people. You know that 2027 is taking precedence to any other thing. And then to talk about orders, which orders have not been given in the past? Has it changed anything from the northeast to north central here? And sadly, what happened on Sunday in Jos is a new phenomenon, because we've not had it this manner where the attackers, before, you know, there's always clashes, people fight, Muslim, Christians fighting in Jos, but not a group of people appearing in the evening and then opening fire and killing tens of people. It has not happened before. So for me, I don't see what orders, and I keep on saying this. America is fighting one of the biggest wars in recent history of man, the US, Israel, and Iran war. Those who are controlling the war are right there in Washington, and they are just in the war room. You don't need unnecessary orders. How many times we've seen when something like this happens, oh, security chiefs are meeting and all that, and then pictures are taken. Does it change anything? It's until you take the right decisions. Because, you know, America, they will put a price. When they were going to take Maduro out from Venezuela, they put a price of $50 million on his head. When people say, oh, if you see anything, say something, you know, it looks very pedestrian. If you want to source for credible intelligence, you invest on it the same way you invest money in buying weapons. And pay people. There are people, of course, you know. These guys that came just killed and then slip away, they went to where they are staying, of course. You won't tell me they're living in the bush. And people know where they are. But you know, in Nigeria, you hear all this kind of thing. People kill. I mean, that's what I would call it a condolence visit. It's not operational, because the operational side of it, you know, you're supposed to see so many things. And, you know, sadly, tomorrow is Easter Friday, and you know what that means to Christians, especially a place like Plateau State. You know, and so if the Easter is like this, there's still a curfew in place. And then we're going to be going to the Easter period with this kind of situation. You know, it's quite bad. For years, we've not had it this bad. And but like I said, you know, where people are decamping and recamping and all that. And that's what is important. And for me, I don't see all over. I'm not seeing any strategic, you know, action meant to address the current insecurity situation in the country. And I speak as somebody who has spent about my 41 years in the security industry. I'm not saying anything. You can see what is happening in other countries. You are dealing with terrorists like this. You don't. These are not school kids. The plan to take them out should be definite plans. Fine, meetings, you can have your meetings. And visits, it's okay. They've been having every time. But like I said, I wish that they can give 20% of the attention they give to their 2027 stuff to this insecurity problem. Honestly, will come down.
And I think the question we've not been able to answer is the who, which is also the what, and the why. That question seems to be elusive, has remained elusive. I mean, we can go back, and you've talked about what we've had in the past. The 2001 just riots, where 1,000 people were killed. In 2002 yes. as well, in February 2002, May 2004, where together over 700 people were killed. The one in Yelwa, in southern Plateau also is a very sad one, particularly because you had people who were said to have been dressed in military uniforms, you know, killing people in the worship centers, both inside and outside. Right, so we've had these things happen successively, 2008, 2010, 2018, and I'm talking hundreds of people. Over time, we've had thousands of people die as a result of this. So maybe we can try to simplify it as much as we can. Who is responsible for this? What is responsible for this? And why?
It's very simple, and I think that, again, I will look at it that successive governments have not really been sincere, because if you look at it, I remember when the Boko Haram situation started in the Northeast, it was majorly Borno and Yobe, and they were attacking the government of the day then. But you know, now, since after that, they will still talking about Borno when they had a group that were meeting somewhere in Niger State. If you remember, I know your station carried a lot about them. And I remember in one of the national television stations, I had a program like this. I did say, look, what is happening up here may be as serious as what is happening in Borno and Yobe. For me, if you ask me, what is responsible, I will think that is the radicalization of some certain persons, and which has resulted into this phenomenon of we call terrorism. Simple. Whether you like, during Buhari's time, they will say, don't call people, they are not bandits. They look for names, good names. You don't profile people. But the truth of the matter, sir, is that we are dealing with radicalized people who are maybe practicing their terrorist activities. That's it. Forget about the issue you hear about land. I've been in Plateau for 41 years. I came here as a very young person. You know, when you hear, oh, people are fighting over land, no, because in Plateau there are so many lands. If you want to farm in those days, people will be begging you because maybe you can have money to put about 5 bags of fertilizer. So they will give you the land. You finish farming after two years or 3, and then you leave the land for the owner. So it's not really issue of land. And sometimes you hear even the indigenous speak. I laugh. I'm talking from the security perspective. You know, so it's not like in the southern part of the country where, like in my village, we still do shifting cultivation of 7 years. You won't go to that particular land again. In Plateau, it's not like that. In the same land, you plant twice in a year. And the land has not diminished. It has not traveled. So but what is happening is that terrorists have heightened their activities. And one would have expected government, including the state government, you know, speaking, addressing television. During the last administration of Lalong, they had the Weather Peace Agency. And I remember one time we had a security training program. No government official came. They were having a cultural something. They said we are doing security, you know, and I laughed. Because what we are being faced with is not, you don't organize cultural groups to come and dance, say you are making peace. It's nonsensical. The truth of the matter, sir, what we're being faced with is terrorism, pure terrorism. And until you handle it that way, forget it.
So, Mr. Osoro,
you can have your meetings.
You're saying, just a moment. You're saying, yeah. Because we've spoken with the government officials. We've interviewed them, and some have been very emphatic, saying it's land grabbing. Some have said it's genocide. I mean, government officials. Yes. Of course, people have said it's criminality. They're saying it's terrorism. It looks like, depending on who you're asking, there are different definition and characterization of what exactly is going on. Let's even assume that all of this there's terrorism, there's genocide, there's land grabbing, there's criminality, and all of this. Let's assume without conceding that this is the combo that is playing out. Now, we cannot claim to be ignorant of what has been there for maybe 20 years. We cannot be complaining about inability to properly diagnose what the problem is. So I think there is a solution issue. It's not really a problem diagnostics problem. It's not a diagnostic issue. So do you agree with that? And second, if we accept that all of this combo is what makes up the crisis on the Plateau, and maybe even in neighboring Benue, which you're quite familiar with, how do we approach it?
Very simple for me. I am not a politician. I'm just somebody practicing security in the private field. Number one, it may be, you like, for semantics purposes, you may talk about that. But what I've said is that it is the radicalization of people. And I'm not speaking that, I've said earlier that this is my 41 years here in Plateau. I came here for youth service. Some of the things you saw yesterday, I'm not a Plateau man, but some of the things you saw yesterday, it's not in the Plateau character. That you see a young man being mauled to death. These are, you know, you can see a situation where people are being radicalized for whatsoever purposes. And when you don't call maybe you do a diagnostic of a situation and you don't want to call it the name, you will still have the problem. That's one. Then number two, in all that has happened, I was here in Jos. You know, people talk about 2001. The first time there was a skirmish, maybe I think a few people died. It happened about 1994 at Gadabu area. And since then till date, how many people have been, people are caught? Like the one that happened yesterday. It was security people want to. I believe they should be able to pick those people that killed that young man. How many of these people in the past 20 years plus, one person that has been taken to court, found guilty, and to pay for their crimes? I don't know of any. That all these people going around killing, and they are taken to court, made to pay the supreme price. Not one. And so there are a lot of issues here, sir. One, the political will, is what I see that is lacking even, because talking on television, talking to the people is one thing, but the ability to say this cannot be allowed to continue. And so there are a lot of issues, so people do these things and then they go scot-free. No penalty whatsoever. No.
And indeed, it is very...
It's a much, that's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's a very depressing situation, and, amid the circumstances, what wonders what options are open to, the people who are attacked, who are the receiving end time and again of this, onslaught of attacks, not just in Plateau, but in other parts of the country. But clearly, it is a continuing conversation, and we hope, to have better stories to tell in the future. Mr. Usoro is a security consultant. Mr. Edinen Usoro is a security consultant and MD CEO, Executive Guards Limited. Thank you for joining us on the Morning Brief.
Okay.
And just to let you know that we are still hoping that Mr. Alfred Alabo, the Public Relations Officer for the police in Plateau State, will still join us sometime shortly amid the program. But in the meantime, we'll take a moment. When we return, we'll weigh in on the very thorny legal issue between the parties of the African Democratic Congress and with INEC in the fray. Join us again.